Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. And we got an awesome episode lined up today. I have a guest who has a very unique backstory, but it's the backstory we all strive for, I think, as entrepreneurs when we start our own business. So I'm excited to hear how he grew a massive business and then sold it, and what he's doing now, and how you can learn from that to grow your own business. So before we go any further, let me introduce my guest and dive in here. John Hewitt, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Brandon. My pleasure.
So I hinted at it. I said you grew and sold a massive business. So let's not tease the listeners. Let's get right to it. Can you tell me about that brand that you grew and sold?
I've got great news for you. I built two great massive businesses.
Oh, I did not know that. I love that. All right, let's unpack it.
So I'll give you my 55-year career in 3 minutes or less. I started when working at H&R Block while I was at the University of Buffalo. Loved it. And 12 years later, I was running 250 H&R Block offices. My dad was CFO of a public company. He decided he liked the little apple he bought by mail better than the mainframe running his public company. He decided we should computerize taxes. So in 1981, we both quit our jobs and built the first tax software for an Apple computer. No one wanted it, way ahead of its time. There weren't even 500,000 PCs in the country, and got lucky and found a company here in Virginia Beach called Mel Jackson Tax Service. We bought 6 offices from Mel Jackson's widow, merged the two companies, changed the name to Jackson Hewitt. We went public and built it. Today, it's the 23rd largest retail chain in the country. We sold it 15 years later for $483 million. Went on to become a billion-dollar company. So my first large venture was creating a billion-dollar company, 23rd largest in the country. Sold it, and I had a 3-year non-compete, but it didn't cover Canada because Jackson Hewitt's never gone to Canada. Having grown up in Buffalo, I knew the Canadian tax system. I'd done Canadian taxes. So we opened Liberty Tax in Canada, and within 3 years became a top 100 retail chain. Now I've done top 100 US, top 100 Canada. Came back to the United States in 2000. Now I had to compete against myself, my name, my software, my system, and my people. And yet we grew. Not only did we grow faster than Jackson Hewitt, we grew faster than them and H&R Block combined. We opened 4,000 offices in 12 years. My second public company, my second $500 million company, my second one of the top 100 retail chains in this country. No one else has ever done two. Again, I sold my stock, and 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, we started Loyalty Brands. And the reason we call it Loyalty is I have over 25 people that have been with me over 20 years that have been with me, some all the way back to Jackson Hewitt, most just with Liberty. And we're our fastest growing. We have 8 different franchise systems. Our fastest growing is, believe it or not, we're out of tax. We have a tax fast growing, but mobile dog grooming, Zoomin' and Grooming. It's going to be my third top 100 retail chain. I'm the only one that's done it twice now. Third time's a charm. I'm done doing it again. So that's my 55-year career in a nutshell. And I brought in one thing to add. I've changed lives of tens of thousands of people. I brought in 5,200 franchisees, including many partnerships and hundreds of thousands of employees.
It's an incredible story, and it's one that's you said you're the only one to do it twice. So I was going to say super rare. It's literally the only one. And I've never heard a story even remarkably close to that. So what I'm curious is, growing and selling a company for $500 million and to do that multiple times is very complex. Most people don't even cross the $1 million revenue mark in their small businesses. We're talking about something that's such a different scale. I want to understand, I mean, we have a limited time here, but I want to understand from your perspective, like, what were the key things that helped you grow both of those brands, and now that you're doing again with this brand, that we can take and replicate in our own small businesses?
Yeah, I wish I could cover it in a few minutes. I do a weekly webinar where I give guidance to uh, small businesses and people that want to get into business, people that want to improve their lives. And a few weeks ago, I was asked, "What's the number one most important attribute?" And I told them, and then it occurred to me that that's the number one question I get asked is what's number one. I like the way that you said it is what are the things, because it's not just one thing. And so I said I love top 10 lists. Starts with the 10 commandments. And so I have top 10 lists for all my companies. These are the 10 most important things. And I said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I've never done this. I'm going to come up with 10 most important things to have massive success. And I thought I could only, when I was saying it, I thought I'd probably only get 5 or 6 and then have to build on it. Next morning, I sat down and in 5 minutes, I wrote 10. And then before I did the next week's show, I came up with 2 more. So my top 10 is actually 12. And I will let me see if I can quick read that for you and tell you what they are. But I don't have time to go into any depth because my presentation was about almost an hour on all of these 10 things and explaining the each of them. So one of the things for sure is integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. You'll always be successful if you do what you say you're going to do. Secondly, is doing what's best for every person you meet, not what's best for me, but what's best for them. Third is commitment to improvement. To have the best system, it has to be improving. You can't just stay still. You got to be improving. You have to listen. Most people don't listen. They listen in order to decide what they're going to say. You have to listen to everyone, especially your customers and your franchisees or employees that are closest to your customers. You have to have a relatively accurate view of the future of that industry, of your company. So vision's important. You have to be able to delegate. Delegation is the biggest disease I've seen in management in my life. Is almost everyone can't delegate well. Hard work. Everything worthwhile requires hard work. There's no easy paths. Culture. It's success isn't about how smart you are, how educated you are, how experienced you are. It's about the culture of your organization. You have to have the right attitude. And Tom Watson Sr., the founder of IBM, said, give me 100 people with great attitude or 100 great engineers. I'll always take the people with great attitude. You can teach engineering. You can't teach attitude. You have to build systems. So to have a great company, a large company, it has to be systemic. You have to have solve things with systems. You can't have one-off every day and fight fires all the time. You have to build systems to stop fires before they start. So there's my 9, my first 10. I didn't get the important one yet, but next one is you got to get everyone to buy in. When you're a leader, when you're a builder of a founder, a leader, the CEO, the chairman of the board, you have to get your customers to buy in, your investors, your franchisees, your employees, everyone to buy in. And you have to create audacious goals. You can't just have minuscule goals. When I bought Mel Jackson, they had 6 offices. H&R Block had 9,000. And our goal was to get to 9,001, to add 8,995 offices. That's crazy. That's insane. That's audacious. We didn't get to 9,000. We got to 6,000. So it became $1 billion company. So that's not so bad. And the most important, number 12, is perseverance. God doesn't put anyone here to skate. Everyone gets knocked down. Winners get up every time and just keep going. They got to kill me to stop me.
Amen. That's an amazing list. I love those 12 principles. And I think there are things I wish we could explore them deeper, but I know you've done that already. Well, let me ask you this, because I think in service to the audience, you said you have a webinar series. What can you provide us the link to that? We'll put it in the show notes down below for the listener.
Sure. It's on loyaltybrands.com website.
Even better. I'll toss that website on the screen now. We'll make sure to link to that down in the show notes, the specific link to go register for that. If you're interested, I know I'm interested to go deeper on this list, but for the sake of time, we can't on this episode. But I do want to ask you, what's next? You're growing loyalty brands. Give me a sense of, it's a franchise development company. It sounds like, so you have multiple brands under your portfolio. You're growing them. What is your, well, let me back up a second. Why? You've built and sold two massive companies. What continues to drive you forward and to take loyalty brands to that pinnacle level?
You're right. I'm going to be 75 years old next month, and most people are long retired by the time they're my age. But I've been so blessed by God, and I've given so much. And when I was a kid, I've always been self-confident. It's mistaken for, or it really is cockiness when you haven't done it yet. And when I was a teenager, I knew positive. I was poor, but I knew I was going to get rich. And I said, you know what? I was so immature and not thoughtful that I said, I'm just going to make a few $1,000,000 and retire. But along the way, Brandon, I realized what would I do? There's nothing more rewarding than improving lives. Nothing. There's in everything I've done in my life. The most rewarding thing is improving lives, and it would be such a waste. I'm at the peak of my knowledge of business and ability to help others, and just to go sit on a beach somewhere, what a waste. My favorite story in the Bible is the talent story. That's a waste of my talent. That's like the servant, he buried his talent. So they got to kill me to stop me. I'm in this for life. And I realized that the journey is the joy. The check at the end of the rainbow, the $500 million, that's just anticlimactic. The journey is the joy.
I wish more people would figure that out sooner in life, that it's both the journey and also serving others. And that's when the wealth comes and you can actually appreciate it instead of just chasing it yourself. It doesn't really do anything for you. And I'm a huge fan of that story in the Bible as well. So much can be extracted from that. But I want to ask you this, because loyalty brands, you're growing it. You have 8 brands already under your portfolio. What do you want to take this brand to before you step back or step out of it?
Before I answer that question, let me say this, that you just give me number 13 on my top 10 list. So, and I owe it all to you.
Well, I want to know what it is.
I've said this before, but I've never applied it to the top 13. And that is, I learned in the journey that you can never outgive what you receive. You can never outgive. So giving is the 13th principle of becoming incredibly successful. And I've never, ever, virtually, if ever, received more from the person I gave it to. So if I did something for you, Brandon, you don't give me more back. I don't even allow you to, because I don't want to be in people's debt. So, but I get it from something else. I get some other gift from some other direction. So my new 13 that I just invented, that I've said before, but I didn't put it in the top 10, is you must be a giver. Give, and you will receive more than you can ever give. And you asked me my goal, back to the goal. My goal is in each brand, in each of our 8 brands, to be number one in that industry, to be number one largest in that industry. And there's some audacious, large industries, like H&R Block still has 9,000 houses. So, but there are some industries I love, the pet grooming, the mobile grooming will be number one this year. There's no national presence. So we're going to be the King Kong by December of this year. We're going to be the King Kong in mobile grooming. And within 5 years, it's going to be a household name. If you think mobile pet grooming, you're going to think Zoom grooming.
That's so awesome. And what I already know, because of what was on your list, because of perseverance, that you won't stop at number one. You're going to continue to grow it. Listen, if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to know more, I want to be part of this company, this brand, it's on the screen. Go check out the webinars, go see what other brands are in that portfolio and how you can join and be part of an amazing company. I can just tell. I don't need credit for number 13, by the way, John. That's all you. You can have that. I'm so grateful you shared your time with us here. I do have one more question before I let you go here, and it's a question for a question. I want you to leave the listener with a powerful question that they can ask themselves, whether this is something that you ask yourself on a daily basis to grow your company. What do you want them to think about after this episode to help them grow their company to the next level?
Almost everyone I talk to, interview, even my employees, my children, my grandchildren, most people do not have 3 to 5 year goals. So what are your goals? And I mean, if you don't know your goal, you could be going in exactly the wrong direction.
That is so true, John. We gotta wrap up here. This has been an episode packed full of knowledge that you should put on half speed and listen to 7 times to really dissect this. I appreciate you being here, and for you watching and listening wherever you are, make sure you subscribe so we can keep bringing these episodes to you every single day of the week. We'll see you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.